Huomenta kaikille, hyvät naiset ja herrat. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second day of Eurooppa-forum. Today we talk about economic and businesses and the future of European Union and its companies. Aloittelen suomen kielellä. I will start with Finnish first and then we change in English. Today the basic language is English in our presentations, in our talks, but of course a few words also in Finnish is appropriate. Minun nimeni on Niko Kyynäräinen, toimin elinvoimajohtajana Turun kaupungissa, myös Turku Science Park Oyn hallituksen puheenjohtajana. Toimin tänään moderaattorina tähän päivään, joka on valtavan mielenkiintoinen ja täynnä loistavia keynote-puheenvuoroja, on paneelikeskustelua, joka syventää meidän käsitystä siitä, mihin ollaan tulevaisuudessa menossa. Toivottavasti hyödynnätte edelleen meidän chattia, meidän keskustelufoorumia. Meidän järjestäjien suuri tavoite ja suuri tarkoitus on se näiden päivien aikana, että me kaikki osallistumme keskusteluun Euroopan tulevaisuudesta ja muokkaamme yhdessä omilla ajatuksillamme sitä, mitä tulisi tavoitella. Turun seutu, jos jokin, on tietysti alue, joka elää kansainvälisyydestä, elää yhteistyöstä Euroopan sisällä, elää viennistä yli Euroopan rajojen, elää näiden sisämarkkinoiden toimivuudesta, ihmisten liikkuvuudesta. Koskee se sitten meidän yliopistoja, yrityksiä kuin kaupunkiakin. Kaupunkina meillä on tietysti ehkä sanotaan ykköstavoite olla myös globaali edelläkävijä, mitä tulee hiilineutraaliustavoitteisiin ja niiden toteuttamiseen. Tämä vuorovaikutus, jossa kaupunki ja kaupunkialueet pyrkivät saavuttamaan kestävän kehityksen pohjautuvaa toimintaa ja sitä kautta tietysti hiilineutraaliutta, tapahtuu itse asiassa vain ja ainoastaan, mikäli me pystymme yhdessä toimimaan yritysten erinäköisten innovaattoreiden kanssa. Me ollaan Turussa jo toteutettu hyvin paljon asioita, toimenpiteitä, liittyy se sitten meidän kaukolämpöön, vedenpuhdistukseen, liikkumiseen, niin edespäin. Ja niitä on tehty yhteistyössä yritysten kanssa, taustalla tietysti myöskin globaali regulaatio siitä, miten toimintaa tulisi kaupungeissa järjestää. Mutta tähän kumppanuuteen, tähän yhteistyöhön me kutsumme vielä vaan lisää toimijoita. Me emme ole missään nimessä valmiita. Sen jälkeen, kun ollaan 29 mennessä toteutettu hiilineutraalius, niin sitten aletaan tietysti menemään vielä vaan eteenpäin ja olemaan vielä vaan puhtaampia ja tarjoamaan muullekin maailmalle oppeja ja näkymää siitä, miten alueita kannattaa kehittää. Pandemian aikana olemme totta kai joutuneet kaikki joustamaan ja miettimään, miten tulevaisuus rakentuu ja miten kaupunkialueet, sen yritykset pärjäävät tässä globaalissa kilpailussa jatkossa, mitkä on niitä tekijöitä, joihin tulee panostaa. Meidän alueella on aina ollut vahva yhteistyö yliopistojen, yritysten ja kaupungin välillä. Me uskomme edelleen keskellä pandemian jälkeenkin meidän vahvoihin klustereihin, meidän vahvoihin kärkialoihin. Lisäksi me painamme todella paljon päälle sen eteen, että kaupunkialueemme saavutettavuus on uudella tolalla. Ja tämä on varmasti yksi sellainen keskeinen tekijä, josta tänäänkin puhumme, että kun me toteutetaan paketteja ja rahoja, niin on hyvin keskeistä tarkastella, että mitkä niistä on todellisia tulevaisuusinvestointeja, mihin tulee satsata, jotta me pärjäämme tulevassa kilpailussa. Sen takia tunnin juna, eli nopea yhteys, raideyhteys Turun ja Helsingin välillä on koko Suomen kannalta aivan keskeisiä hankkeita. Jos me verrataan vaikka Italiaan, jossa merkittävä osa elvytysrahoista käytetään tällä hetkellä raideliikenteen kehitykseen, niin meidän täytyy myös tässä kisassa olla mukana. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we talk about the future, the development of Europe, how would I say, totally in several words. We talk about, for example, the industry development, what is the future of Euro, how we manage to look in the future when we do these recovery plans all around the Europe. As I was talking in Finnish, I point out that for example, Italy is putting a lot of money, a lot of the recovery plans, for example, to the railroad investments in the country. And in my opinion, we should do the same here in Finland. For example, the 1-hour train from Helsinki to Turku or from Turku to Helsinki, which way one chooses, is one of the key projects in Finland in coming years. And it should be done in the 2020s. Turku region is one of the kind of a most internationalized regions in Finland. Our amount of Finnish export was before the COVID crisis over 13%, approximately 14%. So that, for example, is a key element why we should be linked all around Europe. Of course, innovations, investments, how we push our industry is the key element, how we success in competition against China or United States or other developing areas. What is going to be the kind of a Green Deal? How much of our investments are those which are the future potential businesses in all around the world? In this sense, I am very proud of what we are doing now in Turku region. We have our Green Industry Park, for example, where we try to push the new businesses coming from the circular economy, for example, and being the kind of a success stories in the whole world. Of course, our maritime industry, the same thing. The new energy solutions, for example, provided to our ships in coming years will be those key enable processes in the businesses. And then, of course, as we are in the middle of pandemic, the truck development and also the diagnostic industry that we have here, of course, Bayer leading this industry here in Turku region. These solutions that our truck development provides, hopefully, will make us a better world in the future. So, in these words, I'd like to open this day. Hopefully, we will link with each other, discuss, hear good presentations, good panel discussion, and hopefully this will be a successful day. We will start with a awards for our companies. We have been doing this for a decade already, over a decade, providing awards to the regional companies that has a kind of an international side in their future. They are born global, or they have done something really different in their businesses. These awards are provided by our business development company, Turku Science Park Limited, which is a triple helix model organized company where universities, companies and city are responsible of the innovation ecosystem building in this area. So with these words, I would like to welcome the CEO of Turku Science Park Limited, Mr. Tom Palenius, here to give the awards. Please, Tom.
Thank you, Nico. It's truly a pleasure and honor to be here, be able to present the European Forum, the Entrepreneurial Spirit of Turku Business Awards. And actually, Nico, it's the 18th time when we present these awards. And it started really in connection with the European Day of Enterprises 18 years ago. But today's Europe Forum is, of course, a very natural place when you talk about international business and international connections, networks as enabling tools for growth for companies. So this is the perfect context. And again, this year, we at Turku Science Park, together with our collaborators, we have nominated 3 companies in these 3, 1 company for each category, to be awarded. And they are different companies, but at least they have one thing in common. They all represent the strong spearhead areas within Turku region, business areas, technology areas, areas of know-how and expertise, which we all can be very proud of in this region. It has taken us through decades and even centuries, you could say, within these areas. So with this short introduction, let's go to the actual awards. I start with the Brave Move category. Here we have been looking for companies who innovate, break boundaries, and reform their operations, methods, and even their area of industry. So something new, something bold, and bold decisions, taking the company forward as a successful pioneer and inspiring example during the changes. In this category, we have Langtech Oy, based in Piikkio, Kaarina. They have been developing and supplying sulfur scrubbers for marine exhaust gas for 10 years. Continuous development, understanding the various requirements of customers and proven solutions have made this family business one of the most important players in the industry and actually globally. Langtech has proactively followed the development of shipping industry, addressing the environmentally friendly and ever-tightening regulations, and managed to offer solutions that meet also upcoming future regulations. Looking forward is an important thing in success, of course. In addition to its own comprehensive solutions, Langtech also succeeded in commercializing solutions that are complementing competitors' products, thus improving their performance and the environmental friendliness of ships. Langtech's own sulfur scrubber is in use or sold in more than 100 vessels today, in addition to its 38 vessels use the complementary solutions. We truly believe that Langtech is an excellent and successful example of how a company can gain a significant position by bold innovation in the international market, building on their own strengths and continuously developing them. At the same time, Langtech is an excellent example of how such a small country as Finland can produce solutions to global challenges. And from Langtech today, we should have here Eero Pajunen, Sales and Operations Manager, and Linda Lang, representing the owners of the company, receiving this Brave Move Award. Warmest congratulations. Niin, onneksi olkoon. Kuka on tuossa? If you want to say some few words, we have time for that, please.
Okay, thank you and good morning, of course. We are very honored and grateful to be here and gain this award. And yeah, thank you. Kiitos.
Then let's move on to category number 2, Born Global. The criteria here are that we look for companies to recognize who have their business relying on internationality, actually international connections and context. The company plays at least in the European League, perhaps even the global market, and most of the company's production is exported. Since beginning, the company has been able to successfully combine design, production, and marketing efforts, extensive cooperation as well with customers as distribution channels and partners, maybe even competitors, are the keys to the company's success. And in this category, we want to award CH Bioforce, founded in 2016, tackling global challenges with climate change and sustainable agriculture. As we know, EU's goal of carbon neutrality by 2050 requires the replacement of fossil raw materials with non-fossil ones. CH Bioforce has developed a completely new way of handling biomass, allowing all three components of it, cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin, to be separated and used as raw materials in, for example, packaging, textiles, and the chemical industry. With this, the technology enables replacement of oil and food-based raw materials in various applications. The company's innovation will revolutionize the industrial raw material base and bio-based manufacturing globally. The technology is fully scalable. The CH Bioforce process is economically viable even at lower capacities, and which allows, of course, also for small players taking into use these new technologies. CH Bioforce's pilot plant is located in the Smart Chemistry Park in Raisio. The materials produced here have been extensively tested with universities, research institutes, and other partners. The company's success is really built on strong university expertise, especially research in chemical engineering at Åbo Akademi University. As a next step, CH Bioforce is now preparing for a new demonstration scale plant in Finland, expanding strongly. We wish all the best for this effort and congratulate CH Bioforce for its success with today's recognition. This Born Global Award will be picked up by Petri Tolonen, President and CEO, and Sebastian von Schulz, Chief Business Officer and founding partner. Congratulations to CH Bioforce. Ole hyvä. Otatte lukuat kyytiin. Kiitos. Olkaa hyvä.
Onneksi olkoon.
So thank you very much for this recognition. So we have really much appreciate this one, and this gives us motivation in our efforts to go forward. As mentioned, that we are just planning an investment to scale up from the pilot scale to the industrial scale. So Finland needs industrial investments as well as Europe needs industrial investments. And talking about funding, we are just raising funding for our investment. And when talking about the private and especially public funding, I would like to see more risk-taking attitude. So lower a little bit this risk level threshold. It makes much easier for us to raise funding, but in the long run, it definitely will improve the global competitiveness of Finland and Europe. Thank you.
Thank you. Very wise words, which is easy to join. Moving on to category 3, the last one for today's recognition, growth insight. Last but certainly not least. Here the company's operations strongly anticipate future growth. It can be organic growth of the company's own operations. It can be based on growth through networks, in which case the company creates also new opportunities for other companies. Based on its growth concept, this company serves also as a bold example for all new businesses. Growth Insight category, the award is today presented to Raisio plc, the leading food industry in our region. The company has undergone major changes in recent years, and with the divestments of some business areas, its turnover has decreased also. However, at the same time, its profile has become clearer and leaning more towards healthy foods. Raisio has patiently done long-term development and boldly invested in the new. The well-known Benecol brand, based on the cholesterol-lowering effect of plant stanols, will now be joined by a facelifted Elovena brand, where oat-based food products will become a second pillar in Raisio's international business. This summer, a production plant focusing on snacks and oat drinks was completed in Raisio. This 45 million euro investment is the company's largest investment in organic growth in decades, and at the same time one of the largest in Finland and Finnish food industry. With these new products, new markets and market areas will open up for the company. As a result, Raisio foresees a strong growth based on responsibly produced plant-based food. And today, on behalf of Raisio plc, the Growth Insight Award will be picked up by Director Mikko Lindqvist, who is currently responsible for the Benecol business in the management team. Warmest congratulations. Siitä pokaali. Ole hyvä.
Onneksi olkoon.
Thank you on behalf of the whole Raisio Group. We are very honored to receive this award in recognition of our growth efforts. And as said in the opening speech, Raisio has been very focused on growth in the past 2 years. We have been investing over 60 million euros in different production assets to prepare the growth, and this week is a very special one. It's really nice to receive this award exactly this week, because as we speak, our biggest investment, our new production facility, which is just a few kilometers from here in Raisio, has started the production of new Benecol and Elovena products, and they are being shipped over the stores around Finland as we speak, so they should be available in the stores next week. So really nice timing for us, and Raisio definitely has growth in sight in the coming weeks and in coming years. So thank you again for this recognition.
So this finalizes our award ceremony. 3 very different companies, but very bold, great companies looking forward strongly. Once again, congratulations of all 3 companies mentioned here today, and for the audience, I wish you a very pleasant day during the day with these teams, which Nico mentioned already. Enjoy your day and enjoy your stay in Turku. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. I think few questions actually, Tom, for you also. So we have a few minutes time. So of course, warm applause to our awarded companies. But how do you see in general what is happening in our region with the companies? Are they coming back from the COVID crisis? And how was this kind of a past few years in our region?
Past 1.5 years has been extremely interesting, to put it in a very positive terms. Honestly, I have to say that, of course, many companies have suffered a lot from the corona situation, But honestly, I have to say that maybe the effect has not been that bad as we were expecting at worst. Companies have been moving on with very bold moves also. We have had funding available for those changes to adapt to the new situation, develop new products, new ways of operation. So in that sense, we were actually making a small survey just last week among the companies and the actors here, and it was actually very positive feelings that companies are looking forward to a new growth, and they have the capabilities to do that also, because they are in good shape, most of them. And at the same time, again, I have to say that I know that many companies have suffered strongly, but those who have been able to survive the deepest crisis, they are looking strongly, in a positive way forward.
Yeah. How does it seem? Are still the European markets the biggest market for our companies, or are they looking more abroad?
That depends on the business area. European market is in a way, for certain companies, it's almost like a domestic market. So it's the home ground and the playground where it's actually quite easy to expand. But I would say that global business is here to stay. Many business areas have changed totally. It's very easy to break the borders, the geographic borders, also through digital channels, social media-based marketing, and even sales networks and so on. So that opens up a new perspective for a broader view. And that's reality for even very small startup companies, that the world is here at the reach at the hand reach in a way. So yes and no.
Yeah, that's true, and that's, I think, one element what we are going to talk about today also. So what is happening in the internal markets? What is happening with our trade deals to other countries? How they affect to our companies here in this area in Finland wholly. Thanks, Tom, and hopefully looking forward to the day.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks. So once again, applause to Tom and the awarded companies.
Why not?
So as was pointed out from the awards, we are very international region here. We have our Meyer. We are making our Mercedes cars in Uusikaupunki, so darum sprechen alle Deutsch here in Turku region, so that's why everybody speaks German here in the region. But there is a whole lot of other companies also providing new deals all around Europe and the world. We will start our day, our program, so that everybody from the web can also join us. And as I pointed out already earlier, so please write your ideas, your sayings in our wall, so that we can also discuss during the day and during the presentations. We will start with the greetings from ministers for European affairs. So they are pointing out what will be the visions for the future of the European Union, and it will be ended with the talk with the Finnish Minister of European Affairs. And these are going to be video greetings for us but the Finnish Minister of European Affairs, Ms. Tytti Tuppurainen, she will be then linked to us, so that will be then other ways provided. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will start with France, and Mr. Clement Beaune, Minister of State for European Affairs, Ministry for Europe and Foreign Affairs. Please, Mr. Beaune.
Dear Tutti, dear all, I'm very happy to be with you today, even if it's by video, but we are now used to this digital means of communication that we've been experiencing during the crisis. We are in a very important moment at the European level. It's been more than a year now of COVID crisis, and the EU response has been very powerful. I think we should be extremely proud of it and explain it much more. It's been powerful on the economic side. We have had important debates at the EU level, sometimes including or opposing our two countries at the beginning to find a good solution and a good compromise to support a recovery plan at the European level, which is important, effective, and which will help our recovery all across the continent. On the health side, we have been very active as well. Just take the example of the Green Pass or the Green Certificate that we are now all using for travels and in some social activities in most of our countries. It is an important European success. In countries like the US, for instance, you don't have the same certificate all across the country. We have it in Europe, and it helps us to find a way back to our normal life as soon as we can. We have both the vaccines against the COVID together, and the EU has been at the same time fair, efficient, and displayed full solidarity with the whole world, sending, selling, and donating doses of vaccines all across the world. It is our duty, and I think it's also a European success we should celebrate and we should go on with. We now have huge challenges beyond the crisis to face together in the coming months. Climate, obviously, is one of them. The international situation being very difficult again, as we have terribly seen with the situation in Afghanistan recently. In a few weeks now, France will have the huge responsibility to be leading the Council for 6 months. We are preparing to deliver results on climate change, on the social agenda, on the investment strategy that we need beyond the recovery, and on the digital regulation we also need in Europe to protect, to defend, and to define our model of innovation and transformation. I know there is one important topic in which, Tutti, you are very committed and involved. This is a conference on the future of Europe. We will have also, during the French presidency, the responsibility to draw the first lessons of this unique debate that is happening now all across the EU. I know in Finland you're organizing a lot of events to stir up a debate in all generations, all places, to find out the big ideas, dreams, challenges we need to face together and to move forward together in the coming months. In France, we will also organize in each region in the very coming weeks debates involving all citizens as much as we can. And at the beginning of next year, we will have to set up the important reforms, priorities in our policy making that are needed at the EU level to be more efficient, to be up to the challenges I mentioned like climate change, and also to be true to our values, because there is one fight that France and Finland are really fighting together, especially these last months. It is for rule of law and the European values. I want to insist on that because here again I know, dear Tutti, how much it's close to your heart and the work you are doing in this respect. We will have to be very firm on the defense of our values. We will have to develop and strengthen our tools to make sure these values are respected all over the EU. It is not a technical issue. It is a very important political fight we need to go on with. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I hope I can meet you in person soon, and I'm totally convinced we will have important fights, successful fights, to fight again together in the months to come. I'm really eager to find out the results of your debates, which will be important also for the French presidency soon to come. Thank you very much. Have a good event. Bye-bye.
Thank you. We, of course, hope all the best for the France presidency, and as pointed out, there will be a big, or even huge questions on the table, and hopefully also we will then talk and debate with each other in these big questions. Next, we have Germany, Mr. Michael Roth, Minister of State for Europe at the Federal Foreign Office. So, Michael, please.
Dear friends and participants of the Eurooppa-forum, Hubet, Üştevet, Tovotavasti, Kaiki on Hyvin. I would like to congratulate you on organizing the Eurooppa-forum. It's an excellent occasion to enable a vibrant discussion on the future of Europe and Finland's role in shaping it. I'm delighted to share my thoughts with you and to provide some incentives for today's sessions on our lessons learned from the COVID-19 pandemic and the challenges that lie ahead for the European Union. Before I do so, let me spare a few words on the terrible developments unfolding in Afghanistan, for which I'm afraid Germany, the European Union, and the political West carry their share of responsibility. I'm recording this message to you on the 18th of August, and our priority in the short term lies on evacuating as many people as possible, our nationals, but also people who helped us in the past 20 years and are particularly at risk now. But in the longer term, a comprehensive political settlement for Afghanistan will only be achieved through negotiations based on inclusive and democratic values. Here, as in so many other crises, a unified, values-based and strong voice of the European Union will be necessary. The pandemic has shed light on the EU's dependencies and vulnerabilities. It taught us the need to better anticipate crises as a community and to become more resilient. It underlined that we must determine key areas where we have critical dependencies and find ways to reduce them. In other words, it reinforced the call for more European sovereignty. With a view to the rising geopolitical competition, strengthening European sovereignty has already been on our radar before the pandemic. But the COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated this trend. And when I use the term of European sovereignty, some call it strategic autonomy, others resilience. I want to be understood as the EU's capacity to act and to act jointly on foreign and security policy matters as much as on promoting a rules-based international order or effectively shaping digital, climate, trade and health policy at regional and global level. What the pandemic crisis taught us is that with the creation of Next Generation EU, we have set an impressive example for jointly tackling a historical crisis and for European solidarity. Our timely and bold action with the Next Generation EU instrument was the right answer to the economic and social dimension of the pandemic. Based on suggestions by France and Germany, we proved that we are able to act quickly to support our economies, our health systems and our citizens for a more sovereign, social and future-oriented EU. And it works. The summer forecast of the European Commission shows that the EU economy will grow by 4.8% in 2021 and will reach its pre-crisis level already by the end of this year. To give a few more examples, our work on the Digital Services Act, the Digital Markets Act, our legislation on artificial intelligence can foster the EU's status as a regulatory superpower and strengthen our digital sovereignty. One objective of the EU's recently updated industrial strategy is to reduce certain dependencies, especially in future-oriented areas such as battery cell production, hydrogen or semiconductors, and to diversify supply chains. This is an important task also for our foreign trade policy as well as for shaping the green and digital transition. But most importantly, the EU is first and foremost a community of values. Freedom, democracy, solidarity, the rule of law, human rights are all values that are representative for the European Union at home as well as the international level. They are inherent to the European model. To be able to promote and effectively defend our values and interests in the world, we need to adhere to our common values also from within. There can't be concessions to the foundations of our union. That's why Germany, as Finland, is very dedicated to the EU's instruments to strengthen and defend the rule of law. This includes the successfully established rule of law dialogue in the Council, as much as applying the conditionality mechanism in the EU budget or continuing the Article 7 procedures. We are also at a time where we need to broaden our perspective beyond the immediate crisis and draw lessons learned for the future of the European Union. We need to come together as Europeans and discuss possible future scenarios and answers to our challenges. So exactly what you are doing during this conference. And I would be delighted if you contribute your ideas, not only in the Europe-forum, but also feed them into the current conference on the future of Europe, launched on Europe Day this year, because the idea behind it's the same, bringing the EU closer to its citizens and involving them in a broad debate about our European future. The Conference on the Future of Europe gives us the great opportunity to develop concrete proposals in close exchange with our citizens on how to strengthen the EU's foreign and domestic policy, on how to best address its key challenges for the next decade, including the green and digital transformation of our societies. All Europeans in all corners of the European Union should join in and contribute their opinion on our joint future. I also look forward to the French presidency in 2022, which I'm sure will provide an important impetus for strong, social and sovereign Europe. I'm thus very delighted that this Europe Forum contributes to strengthening European democracy, and I wish you a fruitful exchange, innovative ideas and mutual inspiration. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very strong talk about the present and the future and the common values of European Union and the European citizens. I think these will be also topics today, talking about the common values, also critically talking about what is going to be our common future. Then next one we have Slovenia, Mr. Kasper Dovzan, State Secretary for European Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Mr. Dovzan, please.
Dear colleagues, or maybe I should rather say hey to all the Finnish colleagues who are joining us online today. As it is already the second day of the forum, I am sure that you have already had the chance to cover many interesting EU topics and to unveil some thought-provoking challenges, innovative ideas and concrete solutions. As presidency, our task is to be as productive as possible, taking solid, determined action during a highly uncertain period. I believe we have a lot of hard work ahead of us. COVID is unfortunately here to stay. As the spread of the Delta variant across the continent shows, we will only be able to live with the virus in the coming month if we manage to control it effectively. In this context, the Slovenian presidency would like to start building on the lessons learned from the pandemic, turning emergency action into long-term resilience of the EU to the pandemics, but also to other types of crises. There are many horizontal challenges that pertain to any type of crisis, as for example, cyber or natural disasters. Controlling COVID is also a precondition for other plans of our presidency. We want to help with the Europe's recovery, which must cover all sectors of the economy and parts of society. This means adopting the national recovery plans as quickly as possible to pave the way for the digital and green transition. The events this summer in Belgium, Germany and across the Mediterranean reiterated the importance of fighting the climate change. We will direct all our efforts to the negotiations on the climate and energy package Fit for 55. On the international level, the COP26 in Glasgow will provide an additional opportunity for the EU to show its determination and convince the rest of the world, especially the largest emitters, that we must take action now. When it comes to digital, it is clear that the EU needs to catch up with other global players. Regulation of digital services and markets, exploiting the potential of artificial intelligence and fostering the data economy are the areas that deserve special attention. We need accelerated digital transformation which will be based on European values. We share the concerns regarding the security and humanitarian situation in Afghanistan. It is now the time to demonstrate solidarity with Afghan citizens who have assisted the EU. We are monitoring closely the possible increase of migratory flows. The situation once again shows that a comprehensive and common EU approach with Afghanistan, its vulnerable groups and its neighbors is crucial. Finding the right balance between responsibility and solidarity without establishing new pull factors is key. It is also important that we continue to show tangible solidarity with Lithuania as well as Latvia and Poland when it comes to the situation at the border with Belarus. Finally, for Slovenian presidency, the region of the Western Balkans is a key priority, and we intend to do our utmost that the European perspective and enlargement remains high on the agenda of the EU. The European future of the Western Balkan countries and the continuation of the enlargement process is in the Union's strategic interest, and we expect that the EU Western Balkans Summit in October will help to reinvigorate the process. All of these topics are of course closely linked to the debate on the future of Europe. It is now clear that COVID-19 made it all the more important to reflect on where we are and what kind of union we want in the future. We should not get lost in the deliberations on the institutional framework or whether treaty changes are in order or not. The conference should offer an open, sincere discussion on policies that affect the EU's citizens' everyday life. We should engage as many Europeans as possible to express their views and to find out in what kind of Europe they want to live in the near future. We have a lot of work ahead of us, but at least we, the Europeans, have the privilege to do it together, and I am sure that the discussion of this forum will contribute to this greatly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dovson, and as he pointed out, they are working hard now, of course, to fight against the situation in the borders of Europe. As we are today talking about the economical future, I have to point out that, for example, tomorrow there will be a lot of discussions here in Eurooppa-forum for the political situation, and as the ministers pointed out several times, the situation in Afghanistan, for example, I think tomorrow we will hear a lot of debates, a lot of talks about that situation also. So next we have online the Minister for European Affairs and Ownership Steering, Prime Minister's Office, Tytti Tuppurainen. Warmly welcome, Ms. Tuppurainen, and we will hear your speech now. Please.
Thank you. It's indeed with patience and pleasure that I address you this morning. Unfortunately, we will still have to check if it's okay. Is it okay? Okay, so finally, please, let me continue my colleagues' excellent statements by focusing on values and leadership, and emphasizing that upholding and promoting our common values is necessary if Europe wishes to have influence. Dear friends, the European Union is one of the greatest economic powers in today's world. It is also home for 450 million people. It is the most wanted trading partner for all major economies of the world. Its material resources, be they research and financial institutions, combined military budgets, or development aid, they are sufficient for a central role in the world stage. The leadership role in the world is for Europe to take. How does this translate into right concept of our strategic autonomy? What does it take to become more resilient? What Europe needs is more efficient decision making and especially reliance in our values. Democratic values are universal values, but also appeal to the citizens of authoritarian states. Today, it is too early to draw too far-reaching conclusions about the setbacks in Afghanistan or in Belarus for that matter. Democratic states must not lose confidence in themselves and their values. Democracies can succeed if they themselves believe in their values. And conversely, if we lose confidence in our values, if we lose confidence in ourselves, we are reduced to insignificance. Their weakening influence is not due to any lack of resources, but to deterioration of their values. Only a European Union that relies on its value base can be a strong and credible global actor. The European identity is about common and diverse cultural heritage and reliance on democracy, fundamental and human rights. Human rights, especially the rights of women and girls, are ever so important. The core idea of Europe is deeply rooted in all of us, and the foundation of this idea is the rule of law. Dear friends, for Finland, the idea of rule of law has a long and praiseworthy history. Its origins date long before the idea of popular democracy. But what are we talking about when we speak about the rule of law? The rule of law is about making sure that the single market functions smoothly and safeguarding the equality of citizens. It is the force that holds the EU together and maintains our mutual trust. Finland has actively highlighted shortcomings in the rule of law within the EU. We have called on the governments concerned to take responsibility for their actions. This shall continue. Dear friends, the EU must be strong and united in order to have an impact on the world stage. For Finland, it is clear that the strength of the EU is based on unity and the correct understanding of strategic autonomy and cooperation with our close partners, especially Great Britain and the United States. The EU must make use of its economic power and its competitiveness. Europe's strategic autonomy, the strength of the EU economy, is founded on open and rules-based world trade. When it comes to European trade and competition policy, actually, Finland is particularly well placed to advocate for an open global economic system. We need an open market. The debate on strategic autonomy can lead into making excuses for protectionism. This is something that must be stopped at its tracks. Instead of 450 million customers, the European pharmaceutical industry needs 8 billion customers. Instead of the EU market only, the European climate and energy transition needs worldwide subcontracting chains and open global markets. Europe has done well in maintaining a competitive single market. We cannot afford losing that. Only a truly competitive EU can be an economic superpower with a say in global matters. Dear friends, the past year and a half have yet again tested EU's capability to handle crises and work together. The global COVID-19 pandemic has taken new forms such as Delta. This crisis has also showed that the EU can deliver. With COVID-19, we have ensured global supply chains and green lines, created digital green certificates, and ensured vaccines. And it is worth noting that these policies were implemented without seriously compromising freedom of global markets. The latest challenge for the EU and for all democratic powers is the dire situation in Afghanistan. At the moment, the top priority is evacuating foreign nationals out of Kabul. The same goes with Afghan nationals who have helped us and our partners. The next thing is to try to convince Afghanistan's new rulers the necessity to maintain at least a minimum standard on human rights. We can only hope that the new government understands that it is in its interest not to waste the human capital created in past 20 years. Dear friends, unfortunately, it has become evident that the European Union has had practically no role in solving the terrible emergency situation in Kabul. Of course, there are EU institutions that support the evacuation operation, and there are European civilian and military personnel in place to make things happen. But for the future crisis, in similar situations, we must have the European battle group in place. Securing an airport is mentioned as an example for the use of the EU battle group, and so is the evacuation of EU nationals. We must improve the decision-making process in order to make sure the troops are there when a rapid reaction is needed. In the European Union, the first order of business is to reform the decision-making that enables the Union to take a leading role in the peacekeeping operations, conflict prevention, and in strengthening of the international security. The majority voting must have a greater role, a much greater role. Dear friends, the unstable situation of Afghanistan has made it clear to all of us how important yet fragile the multilateral world can be. What is the meaning of losing Afghanistan? Self-reflection does not mean self-pity. It does not mean abandoning our ideals. It is too early to conclude that the cause of democracy, the cause of human rights, is lost for good. Our leaders must avoid pointless blaming and self-pity. The leaders of democracies must show determination and leadership. As I noted, the strength of democracies in both sides of the Atlantic is undeniable if we look at numbers, the economic power, the population base, even military capabilities. We have the assets. Our challenge is to have courage and self-respect to use these. In the early years of the Cold War, the leaders of democracies were true visionaries. They had a vision to create structures for defense, to invest in development. And in Europe, the greatest visionaries understood that united Europe was possible. They were not fatalist saying that Europe's destiny is forever wars. Their vision was of ever closer union of European nations. Honorable guests, dear friends, the Turku Europe Forum, which is getting underway, is one of the many citizens' events at the European Conference on the Future. I and the whole of Finnish government have high ambition on the conference and its conclusions during the forthcoming French presidency. Let's listen to the citizens that have long urged for more resilient EU. On behalf of the government, I would like to thank the organizers of the Turku Europe Forum for the valuable work to strengthen the debate on Europe. This forum offers us all a great opportunity to engage in extensive discussion on the future of Europe. I wish you all many interesting and enjoyable moments at the various events of the forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Tuppurainen.